introduction to the web development, firstly we are understanding the history of web. In the history of web, the web having some specific history, that is, in 1990 and 1991 there was a project which is going on about the particle physics in CERN laboratory, which is in Geneva and Switzerland. At the time, the two laboratories facing very problems while accessing the documents or projects of each other. So at the time, Tim Berners and Lee created one platform which is running on hypertext linking and which is used to access the documents between these two laboratories. That is World Wide Web. It means in the 1990 and 1991, Tim Berners and Lee created the World Wide Web to provide the easy access of cross-referenced documents in between CERN laboratories. At the time, hypertext linking allows you to quickly open the other web pages. So this is the history of today's web. Now from at the time, between two laboratories, the World Wide Web is to be spread entire world. Now World Wide Web is to used globally to communicate, to sharing the documents for communication purpose, for business purpose, for transaction purpose, any purpose. Now World Wide Web is to be used. So today's internet is the World Wide Web. In 1991 it is developed to accessing the documents, and now it is to be used everywhere. Now our next concept is that basic concepts in web. As we know the history of web, so our next concept is that basic concepts related to web. We must know some basic concepts related to the web, as our today's session is designing any websites or introduction to the web development. So introduction to the web development, firstly we know these concepts, basic concepts. Our first concept is that web page, that is a document on web is called as a web page. So any page onto the internet is web page. For example, www.google.com, it opens one Google page, that is the web page. Yeah, the web page, as I have told you, www.google.com is the only address which shows the Google page. So that address is called as URL. The long form of URL is Uniform Resource Locator. Uniform Resource Locator, it's a unique address which is presently entire world to access that page. So URL is a type of URI, that is Uniform Resource Indicator or identifier, you can say. Uniform Resource Identifier, which is identify any type of document, identify particular document on to the web, that is which is identifier, and identifier's type is locator. That means whenever you are opening www.google.com, it will show you only the Google's web page. It doesn't show you the Yahoo's web page, as it's globally defined. Whether you are sitting in India and you can opening www.google.com, that is to be same whether you are sitting in UK also. It means that web pages are globally declared and on internet. Now next concept is that website. Every organization having its own website. In today's world, every organization having its own websites. So what website actually contains? The website actually contains the data. That means it contains the web pages, it contains the images, it contains database files, all data which is required to web, which is to be stored in website. So a website refers to the location on the internet of web pages and related files. So what website? It actually refers the location of your stored web pages and related files. Now another concept is known as web browser. So as you having web page, as you having URL, as you having URI, as you having a website, but you need some platform which is used to display that web pages. So that is to be done by using the web browser. So web browsers are programs which is used to display the web pages. Web browsers are of different types, like Internet Explorer is a web browser, Google Chrome is a web browser, Mozilla Firefox is also a web browser. So these are the different web browsers which is used to display the web pages. Now the next concept is that web server. Yeah, this is the most important concept we can say. Web server is a computer that delivers the web pages. So there are different web servers also, like Apache and IIS. That is these are two most popular web server we can say, or we can say that these are entirely used in today's internet or in today's world we can say, cause everywhere Apache is to be used, that is HTTP. Everywhere in every website you can see that is HTTP, which is the Apache HTTP server. In every website you can see. Now Microsoft IIS also is largely used in any organization. If we go in any industry, they are using the Windows IIS, that is Internet Information Services. So web servers are the servers or the machines we can say which is responsible to deliver the web pages. Now next concept, a web page is identified by a unique address, that is URL, as we know, but each URL consists of two basic parts. It gives the detailed information about the URL, that is any URL contains two basic parts, that is a protocol is there and a domain name. Related to the protocol is a way or it's a set of rules which is used to communicate between two parties. As we can say, protocol provides you the platform which is used to better communication between two parties. That means if I'm talking in an Indian language or in Hindi language, and the above person which is talking in English, then without using protocol or without using some rules we can't understand. But if we have the translator, that is I can say in Hindi which is to be converted in English, which is understandable to second party, that is which is understandable to second party, then that is the communication is to be easier. That means what I have said is to be converted in English and transferred to another party, and what another party says which is transferred to Hindi, which is understandable to me, and that is to be delivered to me, then the way of communication is to be clear. So that translator is to be called as a protocol. So any website or any URL which contains one protocol and one domain name. So the protocol is HTTP, which is the Apache's web servers component. HTTP, that is the long form of HTTP is Hypertext Transfer Protocol, and another part of URL is the domain name. Yes, domain name for a web server or server's internet protocol address. So actually domain name contains the four fields. Domain name, we can say the IP address. Domain name is also we can say the IP address. IP address is the internet protocol address which is uniquely specifies of the machine, which is uniquely specifies the specific machine. That means if we want to see our machine's IP address, our machine's IP address is also unique. We can say you just click on this LAN, it will show you this, and then just click on support, it will show you the IP address. That is my machine's IP address is 192.168.1.4. so this is the IP address which is having for every machine, means every machine having is different IP address and which is uniquely defined on the web server. So the domain name for a web server on web servers internet protocol address. So web server's IP address is the domain name. The Google www.google.com, the google.com's web server IP address is 172.136.72.104. It may be different, but at some times whenever you are type www.google.com, at the left bottom corner, while processing, at the left bottom corner it will show you the IP address. Not all browsers show, but some browsers show the IP address of Google there, that is 172.136.72.104. okay, leave that. The basic concepts is that every URL contains two parts, that is one is protocol and another one is the domain name. Now moving to the next concept, the next concept is the host, which refers to the computer system that is being accessed by a remote computer. So any host which is a computer system, that is most important, any host is a computer system which is accessed by a remote computer. We can access the host by using the remote computer, that is the host. The next part is domain name. A domain name is the unique address which is used for identifying a computer such as web server on internet. So domain name is a unique address which is used to identify the web server on internet. As we have already discussed, the domain identifier is the type, which is type of organization, we can say domain identifier. So www.google and another one is that google.com. so www is for World Wide Web, Google, which is the company, and .com, it's the domain identifier. There are different domain identifiers, that is .biz is there, .edu is there, .org is there. So these are the different domain identifiers, we can say. So domain identifier is the type of institution which identifies which kind of website it is. That means .com is for commercial websites, .edu is for educational websites, .org is for organizational websites, .gov is for government websites. So the domain identifiers specifies you which type of website it is. Now the internet protocol or IP address is another way to identify the computers which or devices which is connected to the internet. So we can say the identifier domain internet protocol, which is also used to identify the IP address. Now what IP address, as I have already told you, IP address consists of 4 groups, that is to be separated by periods, as I have showed you, that is to be separated by a dot which is known as period. Each domain name is associated with a unique IP address. This is most important. If it is not to be associated with unique IP address, then every IP address or every web pages may be conflicted, cause as we have typed www.google.com, and if the another web server having the same name www.google.com, then the web server or web browser may be conflict, that is on which web server the request is to be passed. Or also the web servers are also get conflict, that is to which ID I'm going to send the web pages. So the web or we can say the IP address are uniquely defined on every on internet. Now HTTP is a component of TCP IP protocol. HTTP hypertext transfer protocol, which is the component of Apache server, or we can say which is used on Apache server. So HTTP is a component of TCP IP protocol, that is transmission control protocol and internet protocol. This is the very big protocol which is used to transmit your files for communication purpose and for internet communication, for internet also, that is to be uniquely identify purpose also. So the transmission control protocol having the component that is HTTP, which is widely used on internet. Now HTTP is a hypertext transfer protocol which allows you the secure internet connection also. That is, sometimes for any government sites, it having the HTTP as HTTPS, the S which indicates the security purpose. That means secure internet connection you have. If you want secure internet connection, then you need to use the HTTPS.